It's intermission time. It's great to get out to the movies.
I'm Megan Braun, and I host Intermission, which is a synagogue podcast. And today we have Gigi Hawkins on here. Gigi, can you tell the listener who you are and what you do?
I am a writer, director, and also a podcast host.
Yeah.
So this is a little meta. I host the No Film School podcast, and my feature directorial debut, I Really Love My Husband, premiered this year at South by Southwest and just had a little limited theatrical run and is coming out in November. The year is 2025 for anyone in the future who's listening. And then what else do I do? That's all I do. Is movies and podcasting about movies.
I love it. I was just thinking as you were talking that I think you're the first podcaster we've ever had on the show.
What an honor.
Yeah.
What an honor. I feel like we need to get the movie podcasters together.
I know. I've thought about this too. I also am trying to make a little website for us, right? Or not a website, but like a page just to organize ourselves.
Yeah.
And I was writing all the different types of guests we had, and now I have to add a column for you because, now podcaster.
What an honor. What an honor. Well, we'll get all of our movie podcast people together in a room and we'll all drink and talk about movies.
Everyone will make me feel like dumb.
No, are you kidding? I feel like I am a cinephile and I love movies, but I think I don't know the movies that most people know. I'm newer to this world.
Yeah.
And so somebody will be like, oh, Godard. And I'm like, I think I saw one time.
Yeah.
So
I know that it happens to me a lot, but I'm like, there must be something kind of sadistic about me that I keep doing this and I keep feeling dumb and I keep going.
Here's my hot take on not knowing movies as somebody who makes movies. I think that is a secret skill because we are coming at it from a different perspective and we won't fall back on what is known. We'll fall back on our own experiences.
Yeah, exactly. I had a guest, actually, Scotty Felix, who is a young filmmaker, and he kind of said the same thing about he doesn't know all the references, but then you don't know what you don't know, and so you're making something new and genuine and authentic, and you're not referencing a ton of people. You're coming from your own life experience.
Yeah.
Which I like. I even think about that, actually. I took an acting class last year, maybe this
Where'd you
this
take
year.
it?
My friend Skylar, who was also a podcast prior guest we had on, she's a casting director, and so she's doing classes now. And everyone in there were currently auditioning actors, and I was just doing it almost as a favor to Skylar.
Right.
And I think me being so naive made it better.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone maybe was thinking about it from a very professional perspective. Right. And I came into it so, I don't know, a really roundabout point of view.
Right. You don't want to overwork the dough.
Yeah.
And I feel like that if you're over obsessing around any aspect of this, whether it's acting or screenwriting, and I found myself in these funks where I'm forcing to write something and I'm like, what would McKee do? And I'll be like, I don't know because I didn't finish McKee and feel guilty about it. But then when you just sort of follow your bliss and of course pressure test it and always be open and receptive to what inspires you. But I personally one of the most pivotal discoveries for I Really Love My Husband, my movie, was on Pinterest, seeing an image of a guy who had just regular reading glasses with the eyeballs painted over it.
I like that.
I was like, this is the movie because it's about people who are playing at being human adults. And it was the perfect visualization and distillation of these characters. And it was from me doing in a space that I really like to be inspired, which is Pinterest.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of interior design, fashion stuff.
Yeah. No, I use Pinterest as a graphic designer. I use Pinterest every single day. That's cool. I always am curious when filmmakers come on, where they get their inspiration from. Okay, so speaking of your film, I am going to have a whole section dedicated to it, but we're going to do a little rewind just to get to know you better through the films that you enjoy. But I do want to start with the question I ask every guest that comes on the show. If you were to pick a film that describes your life right now, what comes to mind?
Well, let's see. It was probably the busiest year of my entire life.
I bet.
Premiering at South by, I got married.
The marriage was this year.
The marriage
Congrats.
was a couple of months ago. Thank you. It's very good. I feel like you can be very present at your wedding if you've like had these movie premieres. So I feel like this is actually what I feel like my life is right now. My movie is right now. I feel like my best friend's wedding because I feel like behind and frazzled and chaotic and like there's like constantly chasing like that's the kind of feeling that I feel.
Yeah.
But having fun while doing it in sort of in a little quirky way.
Yeah, what a big year. This will be one of those years you look back on and you're like, probably will think about so much just because so much is happening.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's exciting. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Okay, so you said this already. You host the No Film School podcast. Could you tell the listener what No Film School is?
Yeah, so No Film School is a website that was started, maybe 15 years ago by a filmmaker, Ryan Koo, who is still like involved in the website, and he launched a podcast almost 10 years ago. This was like early days of podcasting. So we've been trying to do the math. I think we're like so much so that it's been around so long that there are episodes that were recorded before we were on Megaphone. And so he was like, I forgot all about these. Are we at number 1,000 yet? And I came to the podcast when I was sort of in my late 20s and realized that I didn't want to be in corporate ad sales, which is what I was doing in New York. And I was like, I think I want to do the thing I've always wanted to do, which is like make movies. So I think I looked up movie podcasts and subscribed to it and ended up.
Because it comes up, like, I would say, like one of the top, like 10, 15.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. And it's been around for so long. And there's so much stuff, like so many episodes. I think I just submitted for episode 859 yesterday. And I ended up, listening and then going to a film school for a year. I ended up dropping out of the film school, but an MFA program where one of the co-hosts was teaching there, and he became my edit teacher. And then we wanted to make a podcast about labor issues in the film industry, and we went and pitched it around to everyone because the last job that I had before going to film school was working at Gimlet Media, which was a podcast company acquired by Spotify, then dissolved by Spotify. And
so Gimlet Media doesn't exist anymore?
It doesn't really exist anymore. There are two shows that are still at Spotify: the Wall Street Journal show, The Journal, and the In Science Versus.
Okay.
And then all the other shows have sort of been dissolved, and people have left the company or been laid off. And then shows like Heavyweight actually just came back. So Pushkin, Malcolm Gladwell's company, picked up Heavyweight, which thank God that show still exists. It's the most beautiful show in the world.
Yeah.
So the No Film School podcast then became, when our labor issues podcast didn't go anywhere because nobody would pay us for it, Charles Hain was just like, come on the show. And
sick.
So I started coming on as sort of like the newbie filmmaker, and then there was a round of layoffs at No Film School, and within that I was like the cheapest labor and got to
That's always how it goes.
Yeah, and then suddenly I was the host operating on Podcast Island. And what's been really great about it, and I feel like, coming at any of these conversations from a place of curiosity, which I think is what you do as well, I just have learned so much. And in the process of making even I Really Love My Husband, I have been always like figuring out in real time and also asking directors in real time things that are relevant to me. So I was asking James Mangold about blocking actors, and
because you're like, I need to know this right now.
Exactly. I'm like, this is keeping me up at night. I had a very good pep talk from Mary Bronstein of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You today. That was like about, standing, like fighting for time with actors, which I'm like, that's what I did on my first feature. And I'm so glad to see a like big release studio film be having a sort of director who is protecting that time. So like there's a lot of validating in me going on these conversations. And I've also like cried on the podcast because I'm like, this is really hard, and connected with a lot of listeners who ended up, for example, Adam Barnes is a poster designer who reached out to me and said, let me make your poster.
I love all the branding for your movie, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That means a lot coming from you.
Yeah,
because
it's really
you're
good and really cohesive.
I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate that. I've tried really hard, I think because I came up on Pinterest and I
Yeah.
love things to look nice. My mom's also an interior designer. So like
Sick.
I really, when things don't present pretty, it really rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And
I always say that like movies are a brand in itself, and you have like your title card is a bit of a logo, and everything needs to live within that. And there needs
Yeah.
to be a color palette. There has to be type for the movie. That's cool.
which we did. We have a whole brand kit that I developed with the color from Daniela Araya, who's a color consultant, and she's one of my best friends.
Oh, cool.
We worked at Gimlet together. We were in the
I love
trenches.
that.
And then Robert Guerrera, who is a like graphic designer, he just found a font that you can use. They license it for free from, I think, Kern Club.
Okay.
But then we were able to like come up with the thing where anyone can go into a Google document and figure out how to build an asset. It's still usually me or Verena, our intern, who's amazing building the assets. But like it's a way to empower anyone to be able to create something, including like we were just putting together our Spanish poster.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I thank you for liking it.
Yeah. And sorry, I cut off your train of thought. That so you found this poster designer because through the podcast and being
Yes.
a guest or a listener?
He's a listener.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And he designs posters for Sony.
Yeah. Wow, what a dream. There's a couple people, I wouldn't be able to like name them, but I avidly use, I still say Twitter, I don't say X.
Yeah.
I love Twitter, and I always will find poster designers on there and I'll save their work because I just think there should be awards for poster designers.
Yes, I totally agree.
Like
there
it should be
there
in the
was one at
Oscars.
South by, but
Really?
there should be something like an Oscar or
It's shocking because it's part of the film and yeah.
people like put it on their walls. I
Yeah.
mean, I had a 500 Days of Summer poster on my wall
Exactly.
like for all of college.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe it'll come from this space.
Yeah.
Or when we do our podcaster meetup, we'll
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out who's going to be the person who awards these.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, I'm curious which guest surprised you the most?
It's very interesting talking to all different types of people. Even in this last month, for example, I spoke with Benny Safdie
Oh, sick.
and Shane Black,
Mhm.
and it's always, I think, refreshing when somebody opens up about like their journey and their life coming from a place of supporting emerging filmmakers. So like Shane talked about his journey getting to sobriety,
Mhm.
and Benny talked about like finding photography, or actually always being into photography, but it being a way for him to create without any of the baggage of making a movie.
Yeah.
And I'm always impressed by, big names who are able to open up and be vulnerable and honest. And then on top of that, I always love an indie filmmaker who has a story that like it's just super impressive. For example, there was a woman who made an indie film on 8-hour workdays and provided childcare.
Wow.
And I'm like, badass, exactly. And when people are coming at it from like, how can we continue to make things, do it in a humane way, even though it's going to be messy and hard, I always appreciate like that type of vulnerability.
Yeah, I love that. How cool.
I'm curious, do you have a favorite, or a surprising guest?
Michael Felker was a guest we had on. And I just felt like he was so genuine, and he was obsessed with the genre that he was making, which is like kind of like a mindfuck sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was like a thorough viewer of that genre. And so it was so cool to then see him make his own project in that
Yeah.
world. And he wrote and directed it. And I just loved it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just loved how excited he was. Like his movie had like some I don't know, Easter egg types of things.
Yes.
And he was just excited as I was to talk about them, like as if he didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it was just so funny. I loved him. I can't wait to watch something else he does. Yeah, and his poster comes to mind as well because I nerded out about his poster because I really liked it because it had some like ties into the story. I also just think I like a mindfuck movie too.
Yeah. Oh,
so
there's nothing more satisfying than a good mindfuck movie.
Exactly. So it was just cute. I just thought we had good banter, and I was very impressed by his like excitement for someone who like literally he made it, but he's still so excited.
Isn't that like this is so movie podcast host meta, but it's so satisfying to like be sharing in the joy of somebody not only like finishing a movie, but it being out in the world and they're still excited about it.
Exactly.
Like it's really, I don't know, it's cool to bear witness to that. And I think
because by the time they got in a podcast, it's like beating a dead horse. They've talked about it so many times.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I always like, people will come on, I'm like, I'm asking them, what number am I on your list of like PR interviews? You know?
Yeah.
Like, you're probably over it. I mean, that's what's so cool about podcasting. Networking is kind of a corporate word, but it's just meeting so many interesting people.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a genre that you feel like you identify with, what would it be?
I definitely think darkly comedic dramas or black comedies are the space that I like to live in.
Oh, I'm always so curious if what people resonate with and enjoy watching are the same as what they want to make.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it seems like yours line up.
I think so. However, I think there's an interesting like process of finding your voice and finding what you're good at and also testing out what you think you're good at. Like I thought that I would be way more into making horror because I love horror. Like truly, I've recently rewatched The Ring, which I watched way too young. And I was like, this is horrifying and also a really good movie, like a really good mystery. But I do think that I have narrowed down my voice into that sort of like darkly comedic, dramedy, messy character thing. And then I also am like, give me the Sound of Music, give me Donnie Darko. One of my favorite films is Ingrid Goes West.
Cool. Yeah.
And one of the films, it was so ahead of its time. And I actually met somebody at the Gotham Project Market who knows the woman who inspired the film because she was sort of an influencer type with a stalker.
Funny. Yeah.
So wild. And I was like, I didn't know it was based on something real. But at my wedding, we actually decided to, instead of give the tables numbers, we gave them our favorite movies. So like some.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it was a great idea, and we got to be, I love Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Steven loves Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So we had like 2 long tables that were one of each, and I will stand by Temple of Doom, even though I know it gets a lot of hate. And I know Steven Spielberg says it was way too dark, but again, I like the darkness.
Yeah.
So I think that there are things that you'll like take from certain genres and then like find your bliss in them. But I feel like one of my favorite films ever is A Bigger Splash, which is like the closest thing to Challengers that Luca Guadagnino made before Challengers, and I love it.
Very cool. Also, Ingrid Goes West, now like knowing your movie and knowing that you like that, I see that through line a little bit, which is fun. I also just love Aubrey Plaza. It's Aubrey Plaza and
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen.
And young Billy Magnuson.
It's kind of a stacked cast for like a small project.
Totally.
I think color-wise too. That movie and like Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, one of my favorite movies as well. I saw
like
that.
Color-wise, those feel like in the similar palette.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kind of like that desert. I mean, Palm Springs, but that sort of Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Vibe.
Oh yeah, that's probably why. It's because locationally.
Yeah, yeah. But it is very specific.
Yeah.
And even you look at something like what Kristen Miliotti's character in Palm Springs is wearing, like the T-shirt is so specific. I remember hearing something, I think it was from the costume designer or reading about it, but like the swimsuit is like of the Instagram moment that the film was made. And I love when films know exactly what they should be. And I feel like, especially, both of those are written and directed by men. But I do think that with emerging indie filmmakers, it's like the women filmmakers will really nail that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll see like a film that a guy made and I was like, that woman would never
Yeah,
wear
she would have
those
never.
pants
Exactly.
on a hike.
Yeah.
You kidding me? So I'm very sensitive to that kind of stuff. And when it's done really well, like in those two films, it's so good.
Yeah, that is such a good point. It takes you out of it in that moment. If someone is like, that's just truly unrealistic, especially if it's like a period piece, but it's from a period we lived.
Yes, yes. And then when they nail it, it's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, what was the Hustlers? Was that the one with J-Lo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they nailed the early aughts. And there was actually a really amazing interview. It must have been on this on Script Notes, I think, with the costume designer of that film and how really difficult it was to costume that film because in source material, because all those clothes are seen as like really tacky and dated right now. So
it's like in everyone's basement still. They're not at the thrift stores yet because no one thinks that it would sell.
The people haven't died yet.
Yeah. What is like a comfort movie for you?
I read Cabin in the Woods annually. I love that script.
Oh.
And when I was very stressed and tired from shooting the movie, making a movie is very hard. If you didn't know, I came back to The Sound of Music, and also after like a pretty like traumatic family event, I went to Salzburg and went on the Sound of Music tour, and like
that sounds lovely.
Like there's something very comforting about that movie, and I think it's because I watched it as a kid a lot, and also did not understand the whole like Nazi plot at all. I was just like, oh, Lisa's boyfriend's there and like they're going into the mountains at the end. So I don't think I understood the gravity of it. I was just like, they're just having fun and learning to sing. But yeah, the first VHS of The Sound of Music was my jam back in the day.
I love that. Best film you've seen so far this year?
My favorite film that I've seen this year is The Plague, which comes out in theaters in December. And do you know anything about it? So the director, his name is, I think it's Charlie Pollinger or something, Pollinger. He's a first-time director. I don't know his story. I don't know anything about him. But the film premiered at Cannes, and I had heard a little bit about it, but it's about this early aughts boys water polo camp, and there's
true story.
No, it's fiction, but I think he read from his journals from going to camp.
Okay,
and then sort of as a prank, the cool kids are like saying that there's this thing going around called the plague, and it is just this like psychological thriller, coming of age, like dark, specific, fucked up in a great way.
That sounds like my kind of movie.
I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of Water Lilies, like the French film. A little, the kid acting in it, which is also something that I'm allergic to, bad kid acting. This is like, this is not a comp to the movie, but like, how good the kids are in The Sandlot. This is like that type of great kid acting. And I hope these kids all get Oscars, like now that little kids can get Emmys.
Yeah.
It's just truly phenomenal.
Very cool. I'm excited. That like is definitely my type of movie. So I'm excited to see that. Very cool. When did you say it comes out?
I think it comes out Christmas, which is really fucked up in itself because like
that's something I would do.
Yeah, instead of going to the like wholesome 4-quadrant movie, you go and see this movie.
Yeah.
Bring the whole family and then have a conversation about being a teen boy.
I think last Christmas Wicked?
Yes.
Yeah. And my mom and dad, like, that was a good family one.
Yes.
But this is maybe like I would do a double feature and I would
Yeah.
watch like a wholesome one with them first. And then I would like go watch my personal second one.
Go see Wicked 2.
Yeah.
And by the way, what a like unexpectedly lovely movie, Wicked.
I had a really good time.
Me too.
Yeah.
It made me feel like, okay, good big movies
Exactly.
can exist and be good. And there's that moment when she's, before defying gravity and like seeing her reflection. Like if you're finding that human moment, like you can like even in a movie that, and I was ready to hate it.
Yeah.
Even though I like the music and saw it on Broadway, I was ready to really not like it. And then it was earnest in a way that was really, really refreshing.
I think a lot of people left feeling that way, which is cool. Because like in a day and age, especially right now with all the Taylor Swift stuff, like in a day and age where it's easy to be a hater for like the general, I don't know the word, like basic.
Trying.
Like, yeah. Like,
but
well, you know what I mean? Just like what the general public would like. It's like easy to want to feel different by hating the general thing. Like Wicked really was great.
Yeah.
I want to get into your film, I Really Love My Husband. It's funny, earlier you said the title as you were talking, and I like for a moment spaced that it was the title of your movie, and I thought you were just saying you really love your husband.
Ingrid Goes West. I really love my husband. Yeah, it's.
Can you tell the listener a little synopsis of the? Did you already say a synopsis of the plot?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, if you could say a little synopsis of the plot.
I Really Love My Husband is about this woman, Teresa, who is going on her delayed honeymoon to an island in Panama called Bocas del Toro. And something happens on the plane ride down where she becomes a little bit disillusioned within her relationship with Drew, who's this like golden boy, people-pleasing guy. He's perfect. He's perfect on paper. But this thing that happens on the plane sort of plants the seed for her realizing that she's not happy in the marriage. But instead of doing anything about it, she does what most of us do, which is do anything but face the music about her unhappiness. And one of the things, and this is sort of like what really kicks the film into gear, is she convinces Drew that they should seduce Paz, the rental host of the place that they're staying in Panama. So it takes place on this island, and it's sort of this like messy love triangle-ish thing. But I think it goes in a sort of unexpected way. At least I've been told from people who have seen the movie.
Coming from your background in hosting this film podcast, at what point did you decide, okay, it's my turn to take the ropes? Is that the expression?
Yeah.
Take the reins and do it yourself.
Yes. Well, it was a decision moment. I think it was a couple of things were brewing, but I was I think I was 32 at the time, or about to turn 32, because I've been working on it for a year, 2.5 years now, which is really, really fast for a movie.
Yeah, that does seem fast.
Yeah. I came to this career late, and I was starting to feel a little bit of pressure. If I don't take a big swing, will anything ever happen for me? And I had taken this micro-budget producing course through the Gotham, which is a nonprofit based in New York. And one of the things they talked about was like, what's your superpower? And so I realized I had two. One is access to this location in Panama where my stepdad lived for 16 years. My brother was born there. I'd gone there my whole life. And we had a lot of friends in the community. And it's beautiful. And the place that we shot was a house that he built. And he was also selling it. So there was a limited window when we could actually shoot there. And the second was this group of people who I had made a bunch of shorts and sketches with, which includes Ryan Thomas, the cinematographer, who I actually grew up with and reconnected as an adult. Madison Lannacy, who plays Teresa. She's written things that I've directed. I've written things for her that she's acted in. Like, we just have this like really great whenever we work together, good things happen. Christina O'Sullivan, our editor, Scott Monahan, who was originally going to play Drew, and he had made a feature in a similar way and was like a guiding light in the beginning. And so I pitched everyone the idea of like, let's make a movie in Panama. It's going to be a micro budget. And they all said yes. The only things that were locked in were like honeymoon-ish and threesome, Panama. location. And they all said yes, thank God. And then I started writing the script. And I pitched them in May of 2023. We were shooting in October of 2023.
And did you always expect that you would be the writer and director of this?
I share story by credit with Madison and Scott because we developed it
Mm-hmm.
very quickly together, and we would workshop the scenes together, which I think was part of finding the voice of these characters and making sure that they were true to what these actors how they would shine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always knew that I would be directing it.
Yeah.
I think I am the type of personality that likes to be like the through line and corralling people together to make things. I love that process.
Cool. Did you have any films specifically that you had as references to this? Maybe not necessarily like sometimes filmmakers will have a specific scene that's a nod to a scene in another movie, but anything in regards to like, if you watch my film, you'll get the same kind of feeling as this film.
Yeah. When talking about it, I think like early on, I was like, well, the feeling of the White Lotus, like these people coming into this location, not having done the work that they need to do, being imperfect, being flawed, it being messy. I also early on referenced Palm Springs because I just love that movie so much. Though I think when I was trying to do my Palm Springs draft, it became something that felt like really broad and big and I didn't feel good about it. The other movie that I love is A Bigger Splash, which I mentioned before. And I just love these characters are conflicted and also have a lust for life that I just love. And Dakota Johnson's character is so interesting in that film. Ray Fiennes' character in that film, like, is I actually think that Madison is a combination of those two actors. Like, she kind of looks like Dakota. Somebody saw an Instagram post, they're like, "Are you shooting with Dakota Johnson?" And I was like, no, but I think that the like big bold comedy that like Ray Fiennes brings in that role, and then also the like messiness, like there was a lot that I mined there, and also visually, like, loved looking at shot deck and pulling from that film, for example.
So this film, it's almost like a hyphenate with the genre. How did you balance the comedy, the tension, the discomfort, the emotional arc? Like, there's a lot of playing pieces, and in a project like this where you're on location and I bet like timing and budget, you only have a limited time to, I guess a lot of this probably happens in the edit too, but how was that thought process going into this?
I did a lot of rehearsals, especially with Madison early on, and I knew Teresa's a character that is, very controversial with audiences. I think...
Like, is that the feedback you've been given?
Well, I think most people love her or appreciate her journey, or upon a rewatch, like, really start to lean in. But 10% of the audience is like, oh my God, burn this lady to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, she's awful, which is interesting because often it's like, oh, they are the Teresa of their relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy for a female character that's like difficult and going through it to like be seen from a place of empathy, like, just because of the built-in biases that we have. So there was always this alchemy of, first of all, I love Teresa. I have so much empathy for her, and it's been interesting to like see people's reception of her, and then also see their sort of like gradual understanding of her and the dynamic. But coming up with the perfect chemistry for all of the actors and casting Travis Quinton Young was critical, mission critical. And by the way, we had to cast him 2 weeks before the film.
Wow.
And so finding the person who would fit that, handsome golden boy box, but also has his own baggage, and leaning into that to then figure out the best way to tell Teresa's story. For example, there was another actor who we almost cast who was great. I mean, there were so many great actors. It was my first time ever working with a casting director, which is such a gift. But it was it was so important to cast the perfect Drew to Teresa's character because it's her story. And I think that was and of course casting Paz and Kiki, like the alchemy and the chemistry had to work for any of this to work and to be believable. So that was like a foundation that I think we did correctly and led to this like a performances that I am so proud of, and I think the actors should all be so proud of. Then it was playing with on set, for example. I've made the mistake in the past where I've been working with an actor who is so funny and cracking me up on set and cracking everyone up on set. But then when you get to the edit, you're like, well, this doesn't translate. Like, this is funny in the room. It's not funny on set. And every one of the actors, it's such a, I think, I'm sure you've seen a movie or a short film where you're like, whoa, this performance is like hitting me over the head and it's like taking you out of it completely. I think that, and I have literally made that mistake. And also all the actors are really, really funny, wonderful people. So I would always let them have like their improvised take, but I always knew that the level that we needed to keep it at for it to be grounded, like it could be very easily somebody saying, even the lines are sometimes so, Paz, God bless Artuji, who has said some of the craziest things ever, but with a straight face and being grounded. Like, I think comedy comes from the people in the scene not being in on the joke.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of always what I was going for. Like, when Teresa's monologizing about her morning routine, she's like genuinely trying to connect with Paz, even though like half of what she's saying is ripped from a Gwyneth Paltrow 1996 clip of her talking about how she does her yoga morning routine that I thought the turns of phrases were very funny. But like to Teresa, it was really important that like in that moment, she genuinely believes that what she does is doing good work for herself and trying to connect with Paz. So like always leaning into all the actors operating from the top of their intelligence, trying their best, showing up as their best, because an audience is intelligent. They can like sniff out false immediately. And it's our jobs as directors to like guide a performance and keep it in an authentic place or keep it true to what's tonally consistent with the whole thing.
Yeah. I just can't even imagine what it would be like making a movie. There's so many people involved. And so to have like a consistent tone is just so, I applaud anyone making a film, because I'm like, how did someone establish this with so many hands touching this project? It just like, I can't wrap my head around it. And something else you said earlier, this is like really a stretch, but the perception to Teresa's character, how like people were a bit divided, because she is someone who is being selfish and like making her own choices of like what she wants out of a relationship, so it's going to divide the viewer. Makes me think a little bit about the reception that the actress Teyana Taylor is getting right now in One Battle After Another, but specifically her character. Some people are like, she's such the villain, but a lot of people are like, well, no, she's not the villain. And so it made me think how, as a viewer, you implement your own biases and judgments on a character for making the decisions they make versus what you would have made.
Totally. Yeah. I think it's so easy to just see it in a black and white way, but if you really like stop to examine how Drew is participating or actively disengaging with her and their relationships and problems in their relationships, like you go back and there is evidence and breadcrumbs all along the way about how they are not meant to be together. And I always think of this moment towards the climax of the movie where Teresa tells Drew something, and it's the most honest and vulnerable thing that she can say to him. In that moment, he could have received it, and actually they could have had a very different ending than what they end up having. But instead, his walls go up, and he starts to do something that is like almost comically masculine, and that is the sad irony of the tragedy of this dynamic, which again, it's a comedy, or there's comedic elements, but I think that's why the film it does, I think, sneak up on you, and I think it also sticks with people. And this is me saying that because people have reached out to me months later and talked about it and talked about how they can't stop thinking about it. Or like we actually raised money after production because we were raising it in real time. And I had sent it to a couple of folks, and people ended up investing in the movie before we even got into South by because they couldn't stop thinking about it. They're like,
That's awesome.
Which is kind of the most, like, literally putting your money where your mouth is for a piece of work that you've made. And having, I'm just very proud of this group of people that came together with no certainty at a truly vulnerable place. We were also like in Panama, which is beautiful and amazing in so many ways, but also physically uncomfortable. Like you can't see the bug bites on their bodies. And I would try to wear kind of what they were wearing. Like if they were wearing shorts or swimsuits, I'd wear shorts to like, or if they're in flip-flops, I'd wear flip-flops because then I could feel what the elements were. It's a brutal environment to be shooting in. And they're doing their own hair and makeup. They're changing into their costumes, which I like laid out in the morning. But I think all of that led us create something together that I'm really like proud of.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to wrap up your section for your film with asking you, if your film could start one conversation between couples or friends, what would you want it to be?
Well, I think that first you have to like have a hard conversation with yourself. And if it inspires people who are not happy to talk about that, then I would be very happy, because the most awful fate is settling in a relationship and being unhappy for the rest of your life.
Valid. And then maybe now we'll do a little section for you to just plug the film. So like where the listener can eventually see it and any info.
So the film, which is being released November 4th, 2025, will be on Apple, Amazon, YouTube, movies, anywhere that you can get a movie. And we also just learned that we'll be doing another theatrical release in Central and South America. So you can see a dubbed version of the movie, Amor en Tres Tiempos, in Mexico, Panama, Ecuador, a couple other places that I'm totally blanking on, in January.
How fun.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that is really cool. And it'll be cool for the people in Panama to see it.
Yeah. Well, I did do a secret screening in Bocas, like before any of the festivals. Aww. And then I also did a screening at the University of Panama Film School. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. I was just like, we couldn't have done it without this community. And so we did it at Aqua Lounge, one of the hostels that we shot at. Just projecting it from my laptop, and there were like boats going by. We had a whole party. It was really fun.
Oh, that's fun. I love that.
You can also follow it and all of the information on I Really Love My Husband movie, and we'll be playing at the Twin Cities Film Festival and the Female Eye Film Festival in Toronto, where we're the like closing night gala film. So I'll be in Toronto, and would love to hear what the Canadians think about the film.
Yeah. Sick. Oh, that's so fun. Film festivals are fun.
They really are.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, this is just because it's back home, but I'm from San Jose. I lived in SF for a long time. The Mill Valley Film Fest is just so cute.
Yeah. I haven't gone, but I love that area.
Yeah. Mill Valley's just like I love like the nature of it and how intimate it is. Yeah, it's a good vibe. Okay, this last game we're gonna play is called Keep Cut Cast. I'm gonna say 3 either movies or directors, and it's almost like Fuck, Marry, Kill, but different.
Oh my gosh.
Keep one, cut one, and recast. Like if you were to like change it in some way.
Okay.
Okay. So first we have Boyhood, Before Sunrise, and Moonrise Kingdom.
I'm gonna keep Moonrise Kingdom because The Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite films, and I watched it way too young. And so I need to honor Wes. And then Boyhood and
Before Sunrise.
Before Sunrise. I'm going to cut Before Sunrise because it gets a lot of love.
Okay.
And then I'll keep Boyhood because the main actor reminds me of my sister.
I think
I have
you
to recut. I need to recast. I'll recast my sister as the lead of Boyhood.
Cute. Parasite, Get Out, and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I'll cut Everything Everywhere All at Once because I haven't seen it.
No way.
I tried to watch it on the airplane.
That's shocking.
I just don't think I'm into multiverse movies.
Yeah.
I'll keep Parasite because it's one of my favorite movies and I love the score. And I'll recast Get Out. And I'll cast Madison Lanasee as Allison Williams' character because I think she would do a great job.
Cute. Okay, Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, and Robert Eggers.
I will keep Robert Eggers because The Witch is one of my favorite
I keep
movies.
guessing in my head before you say what you'll say, and I've been right so far.
I'll cut Jordan Peele because Ari Aster's movies haunt me more. And then I'll recast Ari Aster with myself so I can make his movies.
I love it. Okay, yeah.
And the system is working.
Yeah. And we'll end it with Lady Bird, Frances Ha, and Booksmart.
Oh, so good. I will cut Booksmart because the other two movies are really important to me. I will keep Lady Bird because, it just feels like a NorCal gal love story. And I'll recast Frances Ha and I'll play Frances Ha because I feel as
could see you in that.
as Frances Ha.
Sick. Okay, well, that's all I have for us today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, and now it's time to get lost.
Good evening.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. To stay in touch, follow our Instagram page at It's Intermission Time and share with your friends. As always, Intermission is produced by Jazeel Chu and Olivia Dean, and of course, hosted by yours truly, Megan Braun. This episode is brought to you by The Synagogue.